One storyline that will impact investor activity today is the release of the October Empire State Manufacturing Survey. The headline General Business Conditions Index climbed by 19 points to 10.7 in October, its third positive reading in the past 4 months. Joining me now is Rich Dietz. He's the economic policy advisor for the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Rich, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Can you at first break down this report for us? What were your findings and what were your takeaways from today's report?
Well, it was a little bit surprising. Our main finding is that manufacturing activity in New York State increased in October. It's somewhat surprising because manufacturing activity had been declining for much of the year. But we saw an uptick in July and August, but then things went down again in September. But things picked up again in October, and the outlook actually improved to the point where firms were pretty optimistic about the outlook for the next 6 months.
All right, and what drove the most change between last month and this month's data?
It's always a bit of a mystery because we've seen the index go up and down a lot over the past, really since the pandemic. So it's hard to say. It's really just looking at sort of how manufacturers are responding to conditions. But we're seeing activity increase this month, even though we're hearing from a lot of businesses that there's a lot of uncertainty out there, especially around tariffs and restrictions on immigration, which are making it difficult for some firms to find the workers they need.
All right, and for viewers who are learning more about economic data, what does the Empire State Manufacturing Survey measure?
It measures manufacturing activity in New York State. It's a timely indicator. It comes out before many other indicators are available. It's often giving us insights into what's happening nationally in the manufacturing sector across the country. It also gives us information on pricing pressures that firms are facing, what they're doing with employment, and their level of optimism about the 6-month outlook.
And how do you gather this data?
We send out surveys to about a little over 100 manufacturing firms across New York State. They're from a wide variety of industries, and they respond very quickly, and they're giving us an indication of what's happening at the very beginning of the month before many other indicators are released, which is why a lot of people watch it and the markets watch it, because it's often an indicator of what's happening in manufacturing activity across the country. So it serves as a precursor to national data as well.
And Rich, how optimistic are companies when it comes to the business conditions in the months ahead? And what do you think is factoring into the sentiment?
So it's not super optimistic, but for a while there, firms were actually looking at activity and expecting to see not much improvement at all. So the fact that we're in this environment where they're dealing with a lot of issues related to uncertainties around tariffs, there's a lot of pricing pressures coming in because they're paying higher tariffs and it's increasing their input costs. We're seeing that they're expecting conditions to improve, but maybe not as optimistic as they'd be if these other pressures weren't in place.
Is there a data point in today's report that you think investors might overlook but shouldn't?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I think the level of optimism picking up is a bit of a surprising sign given current conditions. The fact that we've seen activity increase, for 3 out of the past 4 months, but you have to really exert some caution when looking at these data because they can be quite erratic, and I think that may be something that people overlook. You can take a lot out of 1 month of data, but the fact that things have been so volatile lately, and there's a lot of concerns on people's minds, especially relating to pricing pressures. And as I said, some of these other issues like what's happening with tariffs and their input costs and what's happening with their ability to find workers, not just because of some firms like particularly construction or retail having difficulty finding workers because of immigration restrictions, but also just across the board, some firms are finding difficulty finding workers. But we're seeing a little bit of an increase in employment, which is another positive sign.
Thank you, Rich Dietz, economic policy advisor for the Federal Reserve Bank of New York.
My pleasure.